Told you. Okay. Boost VC leads to two more VC firms and also leads the way to DeSci. Before we get into it today, as always, cue my guy, Indigo Saint. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Black View Investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer? Best believe I was black or invested. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifested. So we binge on our black or invested. Best believe I was black or invested. That course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that black or invested. Best believe I was black or invested.
What's up, crypto warriors? We're gonna see how long we can go today. I'm telling y'all, every time the seasons come through, like I'm like bad for like a week, headaches like a mofo. But we ball, baby. Let's go ahead and get into it today. What's up, crypto warriors? What is up, Black Roo Crew? Let me see who's in the chat while I'm sharing the screen here. All right, boom. Here we go. What is up, E? What's up, BK Crypto? What's up, Cryptwork? What's up, if you know, you know? And hey, BK Crypto, can you drop your link in the chat for your merch? I want to get some of your merch, bro. If you can't drop it in the chat for some reason, if you can come on over to Telegram, man, and share that stuff, I want to get some of your merch, bro. But yeah, let's get into it today, guys. So, and as always, guys, if you have any questions, just put them over in this side, okay? And we'll get to them at the end. And here we are working our mind map again. And wow, okay. I was looking at some Boost VC stuff, and it just led me to so much other stuff, okay? Mainly two other VC funds. And the main thing that I want us to kind of take away from today is like all the money's connected, right? You got all these other VC firms, and it's really giving us an idea of who the major players are. And if we can connect some of the major players to a lot of major coins, that can refine what we want to keep and not keep into our portfolio. But again, all of this is in the background or the backdrop or under the umbrella of Swift and Metapath, because all of these different blockchains or all these different coins or tokens, if you will, can go through Swift blockchain, okay, or through Metapath, okay. So let's go ahead and look at Boost VC. Now, one of the things to note by Boost VC, this is Adam Draper's company, Tim Draper's son. But one of the things that they say is meet the startups making sci-fi a reality. So DeSci, shout out to King Alexander. We were talking about this last show. Go check out the last show. We were talking about the China, Hong Kong ETFs got approved, or so we think, right? So those got approved. The spot Bitcoin ETF and the Ethereum ETF. And one of the things that came up there was DeSci. So it's very interesting. Here we have Boost VC saying, meet the startups making sci-fi a reality. And, here we are, right? So definitely check that out. We talked also about reorganizing the portfolio a lot last week. Definitely check out that show. Here we are past the Bitcoin halving now, and it seems like Bitcoin is ticking back up. So if you want to reorganize your portfolio, you might want to check out that show for tips, hints, tricks, stuff like that. And definitely, if you want some other kind of coaching or not financial advice, because we don't give that around here. We're not financial advisors. But if you want to walk along with some other people's journey in their crypto life, come on over to the Telegram here. Shout out to our moderator E. He's in the chat here. Tons of stuff people talk about in the Telegram. We got, of course, general crypto stuff, AI, positive man channel stuff, conspiracy, because I kind of like that, anime, airdrops, everything. So definitely come on over here if you haven't already. And then, if you want to take a step up from that, come on over to the Patreon where we do weekly watch lists for less than a cup of coffee for now. I still haven't gone over there and up the prices yet, but that's going to happen as soon as I get a chance to. Okay. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and now go down into this. So one of the big things to note here was in here listed were two other VC firms. Polychain Capital, okay, largest cryptocurrency investment firm, San Francisco, California. And, oops, I must have passed it. Go back up here. And Protocol Labs, which for some reason I keep passing it, but we'll hit it at some point when it hits my eye. It's so funny. So many people were talking to me about the sunglasses I was wearing last episode. My eyes were red as hell, but maybe we might do like glasses like every now and again in an episode because it seemed to be a fun thing that people liked. But whatever. Here we are. Protocol Labs, a research and development and deployment solution for improving internet technology. Okay, we may listen to an interview from Protocol Labs CEO, but yeah, so Protocol Labs and Polychain Capital, okay, were the two VC firms. And of those, it seems like Protocol Labs is the one that wants to focus mostly on DeSci. So actually, yeah, let's go ahead and listen to that interview. But let's do this. I'm going to close this one out and I'm going to renew it because I'm not sure if I pressed the button here. There we go. So now I'm sure that I pressed the button. So we got that going. So it's really interesting to hear a CEO talk because he did mention that one of his focuses were DeSci. Okay, and we're gonna watch it. I know it. I heard that it bothers some people, or at least it did on when I was on Max's stream. Shout out to Maximus Crypto. But we're gonna listen at 1.5 or 1.25 speed. Okay. Let's go over here to the mind map and grab the interview. His name is Juan Binet. Which reminds me, shout out to one of my favorite ones, the One on One podcast. If you want to deal in stuff that's kind of quote unquote conspiracy, definitely check out the One on One podcast. But here we're going to look at Protocol Labs and Mr. Juan Binet here. Okay, let me make sure. And of course,
it feels like tremendously unjust, especially when you think about how many.
Pausing here. So we're going to listen. Add. And of course, fair use. I'm clicking. Yeah, let's do 1.25. And there's a little blurb about him in here. Juan Binet founded Protocol Labs in 2014 when he was building IPFS and Filecoin, two foundational technologies of decentralized internet and web. In his talk from Lab Week 22 last November in Lisbon, I think that's how you say that. Juan explains the importance of R&D, the lack of funding it receives, and how he hopes to solve this problem with Protocol Labs, an ecosystem of teams based on open source working together bridge what he calls the innovation chasm, the separation between research and deployment of product. Interesting. So let's step back a little bit here and full screen it, and we're going to start. And I might stop in between to just focus on certain areas here, but let's go.
It feels like tremendously unjust, especially when you think about how many lives could have been saved by accelerating the R&D pipeline and getting certain cures to diseases 5 years earlier, 10 years earlier, 20 years earlier. There's tons of things that have happened, and in the course of history, took one path, and billions of people died because we did things a certain way, as opposed to if we had accelerated all our R&D and been able to kind of save that many lives. R&D pipeline has this quality that the groups that tend to invent things first tend to define how they get used and how they shape society. So you definitely want the people that invent things first to have as good aims as possible. My name is Juan Benet, and I started Protocol Labs. We are pushing humanity forward. What I mean by pushing humanity.
Very interesting, and what he notes about diseases and having cures to them and certain things like that. If you guys don't know my experience, I had a stroke. I did certain things, and I feel good. You know what I mean? So I'm not a doctor or anything like that. But if you want to know more about that, definitely come in the Telegram, and if you want to ask questions, I'll let you know. But that's that's all I'll say about that. But it's pretty interesting what he's saying about finding cures. Yeah, that is one of the things we think about when we think about science, is cures for things, right? And I'll just leave it at that.
Forward is that there are some really important improvements that are going to be unlocked by the species over the next 50, 100, 200 years. And like the last few hundred years, we've seen an enormous amount of progress in a bunch of ways, often fueled by our scientific discoveries and how we translate those scientific discoveries into improvements. So think of like things like sanitation and vaccines and figuring out electricity and magnetism and thermodynamics, and being able to from there create different kinds of transportation and telecommunications and every form of transport and so on. So all of those kinds of improvements have been accelerating, and now we kind of discovered something extremely powerful, which is computing. People sort of tend to remark that computing is this super powerful thing, kind of like the invention of telecommunications, or say, no, it's even bigger than that. It's kind of like the invention of the printing press, or no, it's like writing itself, or like language itself. It's like that magnitude of improvement. All of those are still undershooting. I think digital computing is something as fundamental as life itself. Life is a form of computing. It's just kind of chemical computing in very small scales. And so humanity has sort of like unlocked this extremely powerful set of concepts and technologies. And ever since we started working, it has.
I love everything he's saying. I love everything he's saying. Of course, you guys know I'm a computer programmer, and after doing a lot of research into what people call "quote unquote" conspiracy, I have such a different lens on the way I view technology nowadays, and the way I view certain cures, and the way I view medicine, as opposed to homeopathy and stuff like that. So I have a very interesting view on these type of things. But given our platform, I just want to say I want to be limited in how I address those things. So yes, I think what he's saying is very, very interesting, and I think there are also alternatives in a different way that people believe is not science, but those things are also science, just in a different way. But yes, let's continue on here.
Started to change our species at a much faster rate than almost any technology that we've had in the past. today, like we're just fundamentally different species than we were 100 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or 10,000 years ago. And that change and shift is going to keep accelerating. Think about the last 80 years and how computing has changed things. Think of like, we now have these amazing superpowers, like we're able to call anyone in the world, or like broadcast information to everybody in the world, or like live stream something, or look up any piece of information or knowledge that humanity has. Learn how to do anything. Like you ride a bike, you like get a flat tire, you like stop, look up a video on YouTube of like how to change a flat tire, and like you can do it, right? So it's like massive unlock.
Yeah, that part is awesome. That part about YouTube, I will say, is great. That like, okay, if you want to find something, as far as like fixing something, you can find it kind of like instantly, whereas before you could not. Okay, but on the same token, there is a lot of misinformation on YouTube that people think is correct information. So there's that. But yes, as much as there's a lot of great information at the palm of our hands, at the same time, there's a ton of disinformation at the palm of our hands. So it's a gift and a curse. And you really have to be the person that discerns that information. Sorry, this is a little bit, this is just coming up in what he's saying. I watched this and I was looking at it from a crypto perspective, but so many other things are coming up here from a different perspective. And I wouldn't be the person I am. I wouldn't be true to myself if I didn't address these things. So I'm just addressing them. So let's continue here.
For humanity, and that's going to just not only keep compounding, but it's going to get more impactful once we figure out things like virtual reality and augmented reality, and then brain-computer interfaces, and much more advanced AI systems and robotics. And so all of these changes are going to come sometime over the next 40 to 80 years. And when those arrive, they'll.
So yeah, things like VR, AR, things like if you want to go that route, go all the way down to like Neuralink and putting a chip in your head or whatever like that. These could be drastic shifts in humankind, right? And I think about something like that someone might actually want to use Neuralink for. I think about someone who's like paraplegic, right? Like their brain can no longer send signals to their legs to make them walk, but maybe someone installs a chip in their brain and a chip somewhere near their spine, and then all of a sudden they can send Bluetooth. Their brain can now send signals to the chip in their head. This is just like how I think it would work. I don't know, but this is up to the engineers to figure out. But this is my guess. Their brain would send signals to chip in their head. Some type of Bluetooth or RF chip would then communicate to the chip in their spine, and that chip would now send signals, zeros and ones, to their legs, now enabling them to walk, right? That would be huge for a lot of people. Like think about people with like MLS or something like that. This might actually help them. Someone who through a car accident or a football game or anything like that. Like this could be like groundbreaking for them, right? And then AR, VR, we got the world of computers, and we get to like basically use Google Earth and like kind of quote unquote teleport ourselves to seeing some place that we've never seen before. But now with AI, we can actually almost like quote unquote Star Trek going on a holodeck experience, literally being there, even though we're standing in our own home, right? Interesting, very, very interesting stuff. And then you take that into maybe like using that for training people, training military, martial arts, whatever, right? Seems like powerful stuff. And this is some of the powerful stuff that DeSci could bring to us. Especially you throw like a DeFi in onto the science, could be pretty interesting, could even potentially replace some jobs that AI might actually take. So continuing on here.
There'll be huge shifts in how we operate and how we exist as humans. And so they'll kind of like change humanity again. And it's really important in those moments that we aim for really good outcomes. So we don't get to have super high certainty over how those things are going to get developed, but we can try really hard to aim for really good use cases that benefit everybody, and kind of fight against like really bad use cases where, because a lot of these technologies tend to be dual use, right? Like where you could use them for like really good use cases or in a destructive capacity, right? So think of.
Okay, so yeah, that's the thing when you think about Neuralink, right? Um, let's not say, let's assume that the company was on the up and up, right? And then someone, some other random person figured out a way to hack into their system and get someone, like we're assuming the company's on the up and up. So someone happened to hack into their system and got someone to do something that somehow the Neuralink made them do, right? That's pretty scary. That's pretty scary to think about. Um, that's yeah, it's really scary to think about. But let me make sure again here that everyone can hear. I know I clicked that button, so everyone should be able to hear. Yeah, this is going to be about Swift, but we're covering um, some of the ancillary VC firms connected to them, like BoostVC, um, and connected to BoostVC, which I showed here a little bit earlier. I don't know if you missed that one, G, but so we're in BoostVC's crypto portfolio, and one of the companies listed there is Protocol Labs, and this is their CEO, Juan Benet. So we're okay. Everything can be heard good. So we're talking about him a little bit and how DeSci could possibly affect things. So it seems like the bulk of portfolio or protocol labs is um, pro, um, God, why can't I talk today? Protocol, no, portfolio is DeSci projects. A lot of P's there, a lot of P's. No Diddy. Um, let's go ahead and go back to this interview and finish listening.
Nuclear power is kind of like the famous example where you can use nuclear power to get like basically free energy for everybody, or you can use it to build nuclear weapons. And so like that, all of this computing technology can be used for really good things or really bad things. And so it's important that groups aim for those really good outcomes. What I want to do with PL is build the kind of institution and network that can orient as many groups as possible to both invent a lot of these technologies as fast as we can and aiming towards as good outcomes as we can. I started Protocol Labs when I was running into trouble finding a good place for developing IPFS and Filecoin. I had the idea for IPFS for a while, and I couldn't find like a really good place in which to build a protocol like that. And so I decided to just create the kind of organization and institution that would help other people like me build those kinds of projects. So I studied computer science and studied many other parts of science as well, and history and many other fields. I really like learning, and so I've been extremely curious about lots of different kinds of things. I kind of grew up on the internet, so I got into the internet from a young age. So like around 12 or 13, I was into computers and the internet through playing games and then making websites, and from there kind of learning how to program and whatnot. I kind of understood from history that technology drove massive amounts of progress, but that technology and that progress was kind of fueled by the scientific endeavor to try and kind of figure everything out, but B, also rate limited by innovation and the invention process. So translating new ideas and new concepts into some piece of technology that could actually be put into a device or a product or something like that, and then sold in the market. There's a thing that I've sort of like called the innovation chasm, where there's a lot of incentives for.
So like what he's touching on here is some really great points. Um, a lot of times you get hit with a lot of red tape and a lot of bureaucracy when you're trying to invent things. And what I'm hearing him say is he created a space in which inventors can do what they do quickly and just invent and not have to really kind of worry about uh, the red tape, that they can be given the freedom to do what they do and do it freely. So here we have the innovation chasm describes the difficulty that many innovations face in moving from development to commercialization and widespread adoption. So kind of exactly what I said, but said very succinctly here. Awesome. So he's basically creating a company in a space where the innovation chasm is very short. Okay, where it's no longer a chasm, I guess. Um, yeah, that's how I would believe that that's working out.
for building products and selling them in the broad market. And there's a lot of funding for developing businesses to develop those kinds of products and scale them.
Due to challenges such as lack of funding and limited market demand, regulatory hurdles, and resistance to change. Yeah. Yeah, I talk about that all the time to different people. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of these organizations, depending on what they have funding into, they're not going to want to change because of how things were always done, the amount of time it will take to refactor their initial program or their legacy code, if you will, or just the legacy way that they do things. So that challenge happens all the time. Even they may have the money, they just don't want to take the time to change, right? And of course, as humans, I believe we are mostly resistant to change, right? So, um, so it's interesting, yes, that he's creating this area for at least his people to bridge the gap on that innovation chasm.
And there are some incentives, a lot less, but there are still some incentives for doing research and doing science. And so that means you can get
This concept highlights the need for strategies and support mechanisms to bridge the gap, enabling promising innovations to succeed.
funding for doing scientific projects to kind of advance the tree of knowledge and so on. There are very few incentives and very little funding for doing science to technology translation. That means taking some new concepts that have been figured out in science and turn that into some technology or some devices and so on. So kind of like the concrete problem is that there aren't a lot of resources.
So again, science to technology. So this seems like his focus for his company is DeSci, is science to technology. Okay.
And very few incentives to do this kind of fundamental development where you're taking new concepts and new ideas from science and developing them into kind of the early prototypes and the early proof of concepts that might someday turn into products. And so when you look at any area of science or any area of technology, any field tends to be rate limited by that part, by the fact that there aren't strong incentives or a lot of funding in that area. I'm working on this because it's a kind of like deep frustration and disappointment that it doesn't work better. And so it's like, this sucks, like I have to go fix it. And so like that's what brought me to try and solve this problem. And I think like one really good thing is that a lot more people now are kind of becoming aware of this problem space and trying to kind of figure out solutions, but we still don't have anything remotely close to working at scale. Movements and products and systems get built by people, often working for many years or sometimes decades. Many times there's a lot of kind of long-term value alignment that sort of drops out of those relationships. So we think that building kind of this sort of like network of builders, of people that are kind of tackling these really large challenges together, kind of relationships are one of the key things that can help, kind of align us all to kind of tackle these problems together. The PL network is just this community with a lot of like really inspiring people that are kind of
Protocol,
at the same time great.
Protocol Labs network emerged out of open source community ethos. Today, Protocol Labs network includes more than 150 portfolio teams working together to build the next generation of the internet. So they like if you go on there like YouTube, one of the things they keep pushing is Web3, 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 Web3. So along with the science part, there's the Web3 part for these guys. And out of this are probably going to come a lot of different cryptocurrencies, tokens, what have you, that we should focus on. And we're going to look at some of the portfolio like pretty soon here.
Visionaries, but also great at executing on that vision and great at sort of manifesting dreams and sort of like actually pushing humanity forward and solving problems. And so there's like a very strong kind of culture that is imbued with the open source ethos of just this broad kind of public goods oriented view of, hey, if we can kind of like solve problems together, then the world just it turns into a much better place. These kind of marketplaces or networks tend to be central planning approach where groups and communities kind of self-organize. And just everyone's like super friendly and super fun to be with. So I think Lab Week has been amazing to just get to hang out with everybody and get to spend time.
Lab Week is the annual gathering of protocols, labs, teams, attended by thousands of builders worldwide with the intention to innovate, collaborate, and build. Okay, so I think that's a good place to kind of stop here and kind of go a little bit into their known portfolio. Um, okay, this is a different one. Okay, so Protocol Labs, here we are. So they're like tier 3, 70 investments, one of which is Gary Network that we were, Gotti Network, I would say. One of the ones that we were talking about last week. I think King Alexander brought this up, but you can see here Numbers Protocol, CyberConnect, Mass Network, Celestia. Um, we could probably go like way down here, but these are the only ones right now, I guess, with actual coins that we know of. Of course, there could be others that are not listed here, like we see for Swift, right? But you know, here we are. And there's some other ones that we want to focus on here. But before we get into those, let's go over here and look at Polychain Capital. So if we look at the portfolio here, Boost, Polychain Capital is up here. And then if we're looking at Polychain Capital, one of the things we're going to notice is as it loads. Okay, so they got very apt, right? Because of Bitcoin, they got 210 million, so that 21, like there's only 21 million Bitcoin, right? 21 times 2 is 42, the whole, secret of the life type of deal, from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but, there we go. So one of the things we'll note here is Andreessen Horowitz here is one of the lead investors in Polychain Capital. So Mark Andreessen and the Drapers tend to seem to be in on the same stuff because, again, Andreessen's helped fund this. It doesn't say here any of the Draper ones, but we see here from the Draper BoostVC portfolio, Polychain Capital is in there. So how much they funded it, we don't know. We can't tell. But the CEO, very interestingly, was one of the first employees at Coinbase. Okay, so Olaf Carson Wee. Okay, after graduating from Vassar, he joined cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase as one of his first employees. Who was an initial investor in Coinbase? Tim Draper. Okay, so here we are. That Polychain Capital also relates to Draper. He also has a piece of Polychain Capital. So here we are, kind of another, billionaire that we can kind of throw into the list here. It doesn't say that he himself is a billionaire, but his firm does. His Polychain Capital does have over $1 billion in assets, as we see here. Polychain claimed $1 billion in assets in 2017. The firm managed assets worth $4 billion in April 2021. So these guys they're not lightweights, right? They're not lightweights in any sense of the word there. I'm sure if we go to their fund, we'll see some things that kind of overlap with the Draper Associates, Ethereum, MakerDAO, Tezos. So a lot of overlapping. You can see already with this, like, we don't have to go into all of his investments, but we see here Polychain Capital, which uses the cube with the square. So another the cube also kind of Saturnian um, imagery there. But yeah, you can see here that they're also invested in Coinbase, CoinDX, like Draper, Avalanche. So a lot of crossover here with Polychain Capital, and of course, Andreessen and Draper own part of it. So again, everything that they're invested in, you can pretty much say Draper's invested in, but through Boost VC. So so this does insulate Tim Draper, some in that it's really it's quote unquote his son's investment, but ultimately, right, it kind of leads to him. So yeah, there you go. And let's go back here. Okay, now let's go back to Juan Benet here. Company that very much intrigued me was Molecule. Doesn't look like it has a coin out at the moment, but empowering science, impacting humanity, funding and tokenization platform for biopharma intellectual property. Okay, so that's very interesting. It kind of reminds me of Casper in a way, in that they're funding intellectual property, but this time for biopharma, excuse me. So interesting, very interesting. So people can come on here and apply for funding, whole bunch of stuff. I'm not sure what like I'll leave it to a biopharmacist to come in here and understand what's going on there. But interesting, very interesting stuff. And again, it seems like Draper and all those guys kind of empowering others who understand biopharma to make use of their money to make more money, if you will, right? So that was very interesting to me in that space. But again, coming to understand some more of the players, another company that seemed to be very interesting to me was Rehive. And this is back to their Boost portfolio platform and toolkit for building and launching fintech applications, Cape Town, South Africa. So, again, so many different places that they're touching. We touched upon China, we touched upon Japan, and now we're getting into South Africa. And this company gives us a very unique kind of relationship in that we can directly kind of tie Stellar into Draper this way. I guess not directly, but indirectly through his son owning Boost VC. If you look at Rehive, launch your own branded fintech or neobanking app in days. If you go down, they say their partners are Stellar. And we already know Stellar with African or Africum, Afrium, is targeting Africa. Okay. And we also know from Underdog Crypto's research that Stellar and MoneyGram had that one post that Swift made. And after Underdog's video, it's been like that stuff was taken down. So no one has commented on whether that was an error, a mistake, or whatever. But I think it's safe to kind of say that there is a partnership here, but they're not acknowledging it. Okay. So for whatever reason, they're choosing not to acknowledge it. Like if we go to Swift site, you can see they mention all the chains supported except for Stellar. So it doesn't mean that it's not supported. I don't think that it means it's not supported, but they're just not acknowledging it. So why that is, who knows? But it's always funny that all this stuff happened over here in the U.S. With XRP. No one talked about Stellar, even though like a lot of the people who kind of founded Stellar, right, came from XRP. There was no talk of Stellar. So like that makes me really bullish on Stellar, right? Because they're purposely not talking about it. So that makes me very bullish on Stellar. But I do really staunchly believe, and we had some evidence that they took down, that this does also support Stellar. Okay. And with Rehive here, we have a little bit of evidence that is still up, that there is at least some connection there. Okay. Because they got Stellar to partner with Rehive. So really, really interesting bit of information right there. So another couple of companies that kind of caught my fancy, and then we'll go into questions and we'll see where we go from there, were Thesis and Keep. Okay. Let's go back to the Boost portfolio so you can see those guys. So Thesis right here. If we go to Thesis's website, one of the things I want you to note is if we go all the way down toward the bottom here, and this looks like an app that gives you a way. Well, it looks like they're working with a couple different things here. They're working with Fold, they're working with Keep, but backed by the best in the world. Look at some of the companies here. So we might want to pay pretty close attention to these players in the future here. So we've already called out some of them before. Dragonfly, right? Shout out to Underdog Research Channel, right? Johannes Roetz, right? Polychain Capital, we just got through talking about, right? And we found this on the BoostVC portfolio, but apparently, again, Polychain Capital. So you can kind of view Polychain Capital and Boost in the same bucket as a Draper kind of backed VC firm. We got Draper Associates here as well. So how does that work? I don't even know. How does it also work? We saw that Andreessen Horowitz was funding Polychain Capital. So how does this work? I don't know. Are they double funded into this company, or are they just saying that they're included because of this company? I don't know how that works. Whatever, but we can say that these three organizations, or at least these two organizations, Draper and Draper Associates, are Draper associated. But we also know that Andreessen Horowitz is associated with Polychain Capital. So moving on, and BoostVC is ran by Draper's son. So there we go, right? Fimbushi, we know Vitalik is here. So started in 2015 by Bo Shin and Vitalik Buterin. Is this Bo Shin? Is he in any relation to John Shin? Who knows? But we might want to pay attention to Fimbushi. We might also want to pay attention to Parify Capital, Nascent. We may want to pay attention to those, and we may want to pay attention to Monday Capital. So, very interesting with Keep. So I'm wondering here is Thesis the one, the people behind Fold? I don't know. Are Thesis the people behind Keep? I don't know. But they're listening on their site. So I'm thinking maybe they are. So I know what's his name? Okay, it says we're building. So maybe they are building Fold and maybe they are building Keep. So I know what's his name? Jack Spurgo has his stuff on Fold. And Fold is a nice little way for you to like listen to certain podcasts and earn Bitcoin back. So you might want to check out Fold. And then Keep here. Keep with the K. The K, that letter K, it has a significance. I can't remember what the significance of K is. It's also potassium, and then Casper has the backwards K. Um, I need to do a show on letters and numbers. Um, that would be pretty interesting. But yeah, let me go look at Keep right quick. And of course, you'll see the same players since that's who Thesis are the people who are building it. TBC, that TBC unlocks Bitcoin on DeFi. Put your Bitcoin to work without CFI. So I don't know how Keep is doing now. Okay, a merger of Keep and New Cipher. Who knew that was happening? But hey, that's happening apparently. Um, I don't know how this compares to things like Sovereign or things like Stacks, but we do know if we come down here, we do know we got Andreessen Horowitz, Polychain Capital, Draper Associates, Paradigm. I need to look into those guys as well. Fabric Ventures, Fimbushi again, and Decentralized Capital Partners. Keep is listed on Kraken, Uniswap, and Balancer. So not very many places that you can get Keep at. But yeah. Here, let me close the Telegram. So we keep getting messages here. Okay. Let's start from the top. What's up, Fafa Fohai? What's up, Riviera Group? Yo, where's the crypto supervised shades, Herbie? Hey, man, maybe we bring the shades back for a couple episodes. Um, yeah, it seems like a pretty fun thing to do. But at the time, I was just doing it because my eye was red as hell. Um, what's good, crypto fan? What's up, Casper Holstein? What's up, G? And we explain what the live is about. What's up, Italia Grape? J Sharp 2.0. Thanks again for what you do. Glad I caught live. Glad you came through. What's up, Joey? Ready for class? Professor Ruel in the house. Okay, we can hear. What's up, Draco Owens? What is up, Edward Vincent? Yo, what is the cheapest way to deposit cash into crypto exchange using a bank account? I know Coinbase is good, but my account is locked down right now. Um, Another way you could go at it is Strike. That's another way. Um, and then here we go. Edward Vincent says XRP is a cheap move. In the exchange, in particular, you need to side from Coinbase. Yes, that's a cheap way, but I need to find my account with that fiat to buy XRP. Looking for the cheapest way on ramp. Strike might be a good cheap one. Uniswap, you could use that. What's another one? So Uniswap, Strike, Uphold. I wish my guy Crypto Ronin was in here. He knows a lot of different on ramps because he does DeFi all the time. Um, so those are the on ramps I know off the top of my head. But know my guy Crypto Ronin. Maybe we'll get him one day to come on and tell us some crypto on ramps besides Coinbase. Shout out to Crypto Ronin. If you see this, Crypto Ronin, let me know. But I'll reach out to him um, in the telegrams and see what he says, and maybe we'll talk about that next show. Uphold and other ones charge an arm and a leg for honor. Yeah, Uphold does. They definitely charge an arm and a leg for Uphold. Um, yeah, that bothers me. Even though I love the information that Dr. Martin I love the information he presents on Twitter, but I hate the fees that platform charges. Those fees are an entry barrier for me right now because Coinbase is locked down. Okay, yep, man, sorry about that, bro. Let's see here. Okay, so just 59 on numbers today. Maybe it's because I was very, very late. Maybe it's because of the topic, but that's okay. Um, yeah, so awesome, guys. Awesome. That's all I wanted to hit you guys with today, and I don't see too many questions. So, yeah, we'll get out of here for this weekend. Hopefully, everyone enjoys their weekend, and we'll be back on Wednesday, of course. Thanks so much for coming through, guys. Have a good one, guys. And question here, David Middleton. Do you ever buy any Propy? I remember your miles like I'll pass. What up? 8x from there, 50 cents. Yeah, I did. I bought it. I bought it right. I bought some right after the show. Do I wish that I bought more? Yes. But yeah, David Middleton. I definitely bought some Propy after that show, and it's very interesting. You mentioned that too. Again, Propy is a Draper Associates product. So let's look at that right quick. So it's very interesting. We at the time when you mentioned it, we didn't know it was a Draper. It was a Draper Associates product, but it is. They Propy is theirs. So it goes into the whole thing of real world asset tokenization, and Propy has all the licenses and stuff to do it. So very interesting. We just passed Maker here. They do Maker as well. Propy. Am I missing it? There it is. Propy. So at the time, we didn't know it was a Draper thing. I probably would have bought more if I knew that he was behind it. But here we are, right? And apparently, they're going to do a Propyverse, which I didn't. Yeah, I knew that they were going to do a metaverse. But yeah. So yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. I hope you made. I hope you made a ton, brother. I hope you made a ton. Are you in on NYC PBR call? I wasn't in on it, but I saw it. I watched it happen. I saw him post that, and it went up like 2 or 3x. Shout out to my guy NYC Network. Shout out to Dion. Dion's been on fire, bro. He's been on fire, bro. That Arc Block Dion and I were talking Velo back in like what 2013 or whatever, and Velo had a day today, y'all. I don't know if y'all saw that, but Velo's close to 2 cents today. Let me see if I can pull that up. Velo, tomato. Just taking a little bit here. Yeah, it was on fire today. I was like, oh my, here we are. Yeah, 182. And this is only the tip. It's just the tip. Just a little tip of the iceberg here for you. No diddy, no diddy. Um, yeah, so yeah, Dion and I were talking about this like way back though, like 2013 somewhere. Um, maybe 2022. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, here we go. This is its high definitely for the year. Um, it broke it broke this line that I drew for it that was its March 2023 high. So this is its biggest high for like in the last 2 years. You got to go all the way back to September 22 when it was actually on a downtrend to get anything higher than what we have right now. So, got to love that, right? Gotta love that. I want to make sure I mentioned that because uh, he and Dion and I were talking about this for quite a long time. So he's been on fire. Shout out to him. The real world asset coins I can decide on are Boson, Rio, and Leo X. Not enough funds to go around. I feel you, bro. Velo is Spanish for veil. Ooh, that's a nice little occultic kind of thing right there. The veil, right? Um, there's there's occultic things for veils, right? Um, check out the cultural history in veiling. Okay, there you go. In Asia, Europe, Africa, esoteric name. Yes, 100%. 100%. And I don't know if I showed you guys this before too. The whole thing about immutability. Um, Velo is one of those ones that is immutable. That sequence of letters. Well, when you get into gematria, it could as long as it's that those four letters, it adds up to what it adds up to. But yeah, those four letters. Excuse me for that. Those four letters do give you the immutability. Let's look at that right quick. Like when I type in Bitcoin, there's some interesting words that give you that kind of immutability, like 999 in four different ciphers. Let's wait for this to come up. It's taking quite a little time here. Log me in. So you do this faster. Don't log me in. Okay, here do. There we go. Okay, so I showed you guys before Bitcoin. So 9, and when I say 9, like 7 plus 2 is 9. So all of these numbers are going to add up to 9. 9, 9, 9, 9. Okay, so it's interesting too. The Stranger Things 11, and her name is L2, like God. 999 and 99. You add up 99. That's 18, and 18 is 1 plus 9, so 9 again. Um, And the rapper, he knows what he's doing. Jay-Z, well, that's 1-9, which is Alpha and Omega. Because remember, Aaron mentioned this on Simon Family Investments that her husband Simon told her that Bitcoin is immutable, and immutability is an attribute of God. Well, also God mentions that He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. So 1-9. That's why he goes by Jay-Z, right? But then also he goes by Hove 9999. Also interesting. Green. No, not this one. Love. That's another one. But here we go with Velo. 9999. Like very nicely symmetrical with that one. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. We're about to unveil some massive gains. Let's go. Don't sleep on Block V. Same logo as Zello, and both are connected officially to Visa. Very nice information there, V or G. Start for that one. Yeah, guys. Some great stuff there. Some great stuff. So very bullish on Velo. Velo. Very bullish on the whole Stellar blockchain again, and we've kind of gone over how we can make that connection to Swift blockchain, right? And let me see. I think that these are supported on here, right? We can just go check. They may or may not be supported on here. Because I know XRP and that chain have their own multi-platform thing, and it's called Allbridge. But might be quite possible that Velo is on here too. I don't see it off the top of my head, but two, I do see like Floki and ACH. Let's see. Harmony one. So I know I saw Stellar on here. So maybe you could do it because Stellar's on here, but not certain. Okay, yeah, so we got XLM. I don't see Velo on here, but I assume if you do XLM, you could probably do Velo too. There's Filecoin. Okay, I don't see it. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. Have a good one. I'm out. Peace.